Sumner for all their support and all their help this season. To our coaching staff, obviously, Coaches Roy, Jolly, Coach Aiden, who helped out with the freshmen as well, volunteered his time. Our support staff with Sam, Dylan, for our Reed student athletes, all of them put a tremendous amount of work. We're fortunate that we're the only boys program at Norton High School that has 3 teams. And that means, you know, you have to put a lot of trust in your sub-varsity coaches when you have a freshman and JV varsity team. And our coaches just do a wonderful job working with those younger players on the sub-varsity level. To the parent booster group, led by Tracy and Victor and all the other board members, for all their time, especially for senior night, the banquet, our off-season coaches, because the MIA holds on to their rule that we can't have any off-season contact with our players. So we're indebted to all the parents who volunteer to do that as well. Victor for his work at home games, and I know it wasn't just Victor, but he's the voice of our home games. But everybody that tried to make an atmosphere at our home games, it was truly, as Victor has often said, the best atmosphere I think for home games in the TBL, in terms of people putting time into making sure our kids felt like they had an atmosphere to play in, with the lights and everything else we do for our home games, the announcements, all of it. Our athletic trainer, Kat, who at the beginning of the season didn't have much to do with us, and then towards the middle and end of the season, got a little bit more busy with some of our student athletes. Our younger levels, our freshman and JV players, you know, I'm kind of so locked into our varsity team, but, you know, believe me, I watched how hard some of you worked and tried to develop over the season. I appreciate all your work and for your support that you give our varsity team, varsity players, the JV players, for all the work they do in practice when we use them as a scout team to get us ready for varsity games, all the effort they put into that. And now I'm going to have Coach Roy come up to give some remarks about his freshman team and some freshman awards as well. Coach Roy.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Because the first year I didn't, no one heard me for the first 10 minutes. I'm going to also start with thank yous. I want to thank our parents. We had a really good group of parents. You guys do a really good job of coming to the away games. And that's not lost on me. I always like to recognize you guys. I also want to thank Kat, Coach Aiden, and all the people who keep us healthy, volunteer their time. I want to, again, shout out the boosters as well. I have a lot of freshman coaches comment on the fact that we get freshman year, and I can't stress enough how rare that is. And that's all because of the booster work and the work that you guys do. So that's, again, not lost, and we all appreciate that. I want to thank Coach Liv and Coach Jolly. Coach Liv is pretty locked in, but I can't lie. Sometimes coaches watching the varsity team warm up, and I'm like, you know, if we could have just got a couple more free throws at 4:30, we might have won that one. And just kind of nods his head, it goes along with it. He's always listening, and I appreciate that. I want to give us, Jolly's gonna roll his eyes, but a special shout out to the seniors. If you've watched me coach, you can probably tell I'm an emotional guy. I wear it on my sleeve. I've coached 11 straight seasons at the high school. If you count Legion in the summer, 14. It's not lost on me that was the first group of any sport that I got to coach as an adult. So it's been really awesome to be a part of their journey. I'm really happy with and proud of them for what they accomplished. So I want to shout that out. And the last thank you is inevitably Coach Jolly's going to get up here and say the one person I forgot, because he does it every year. So whoever that is, thank you. Don't know who you are yet. For our freshman season, obviously, would have loved to win a few more games, but we finished with 6-14, which wasn't necessarily what we wanted. But I will say, you guys deserve is the best freshman record in 3 years. So again, that is an achievement. We had some ups, we had some downs. And even though it looks like it wasn't always enjoyable for me, it really was enjoyable to coach you guys. Again, I tend to wear it on my sleeve, and I coach you guys that hard because it comes from a place of belief. And we talked about that a lot in practice, but you guys have a lot of talent, and I hope that you keep at it because you deserve it. I know I wasn't always your favorite person on the planet, but I always have you guys back the rest of the way. And also, it helps because if you yell at your team, you get cool shirts that say "Box Out" from the boosters. So,
Box out!
Exactly. Peter gets it.
Box out!
You guys worked really hard at practice, and Both coaches had to listen to this rant, and Sumner has had to hear it so many times he's yelled at me. But it's hard. You guys were dealt the tough hand of having 16 practices over the course of the season. That's 4 less practices than games. That's really hard. It's really hard when you don't get to settle into a routine and you don't get all that time. So you guys were dealt the tough hand, but it's a very deep group, a very talented group, and I think they're going to be even better next year on JV, and I look forward to it. For the awards, I really wanted to emphasize looking back at our season and looking at it positively, and one of the things we talked about a lot was coming together as a team, because I think that's something we could have worked better at. So I did something a little different with awards this year, and I put it 100% on these guys. They came to my room during a homeroom, and they voted on the awards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read everybody that received a vote for the award, why their teammate nominated them, and then after I read all the receiving votes, I'll say who won the award. I asked them to not vote for the same person twice, and shocker, Andrew Bernstein did not read that, so he voted for someone twice. But other than that, they did a great job listening to the instructions. The first award is Most Improved Player, and I asked these guys to reflect on which one of their teammates they saw improve the most over the course of the season, and they were required to give a reason as to why. So receiving votes, TK got 1 vote because his teammate said he stepped up as a leader and his mindset improved a lot over the course of the season. Alex Palier received a vote because his teammate said he gained confidence, which led to him being one of our consistent scorers and a much better defender. Connor Eastepers also received a vote for his improvement in rebounding and free throw shooting. Timmy Carroll got 2 votes for his confidence, especially with his dribbling, which is something again we talked about in practice. Timmy can take a lot more people off the dribble than I think you realize. And Grayson Moore received 3 votes for his confidence in his ball handling, passing, and every single person who voted for him said he's really started being a very good finisher at the end. The winner, every single person who voted for this person said confidence, but I think it was not Carson. Carson wrote this about this person. He said, Ben was kind of scared to let it fly and shoot the ball for the first couple of games, but he gained the confidence. As he gained the confidence to shoot, he became a key player for the team. I think Carson summed it up pretty well. Ben Morrison, you won Most Improved. He received 5 votes, by the way.
Amen.
The second one, which is the one I was looking forward to reading the most, and honestly, it was very nice to read. I'm sure you guys all know who it's going to be, but this is why I had to vote, because I would have given this kid every award. But receiving votes, again, Alex Palier, because he, direct quote, never let anyone down, which is just a phenomenal thing for your teammates to say about you. And always seemed like he was in a good mood. Ben Morrison also received a vote for that because another really nice thing, he always encouraged me when I lost confidence, which speaks to the kind of kid Ben is. TK received a vote as well for always trying his hardest and isn't ever mad. I don't know if that part's true, but he does maintain composure usually. Mikey got 2 votes. Well, technically Jack voted for Mickey, but I assume he meant Mike. For helping his teammates, being funny, and he, quote, gave me food once. That was Jack. Put the winner with 8 votes, 9 because he got mine, described as, quote, mad nonchalant. He won this award not only for trying his best, but being a great teammate on the bench, always kind and smiling. And Mikey, I think you knew I was going to read this out loud. He was just too tough and had so much aura, which I agree. I've said all season this guy was my favorite player. TL, come on up, buddy. Also, gotta say, my favorite thing about TL is anytime he hits a 3, he goes down and he's like hopping on skills and gets Last vote is MVP. I'm going to read a lot of quotes about the winner because, again, I think these teammates have a lot of really nice things to say. TL did receive a vote for MVP as well, not from me. I know they're going to accuse me of that, for getting points and trying his best. TK received 2 votes for hustling even when we were losing, and he always stepped up on the boards. And I wanted to add, everything I've said has been directly from what the players said, but I did want to add, I think TK receiving votes for every single category speaks to the kind of guy that TK is. He's one of the most coachable kids that I have coached. There was a couple times where I coached loudly at him, and he never bats an eye. He totally understands. He just takes it. And he was like our best rebounder. Him and Ben really, but he was a phenomenal rebounder. So I just wanted to shout out TK for getting votes for all 3 categories. That's impressive. The winner with 10 votes. I'm going to read the quotes first. First quote: "He don't miss." They did put except for when he does. In parentheses, it said all love. I think he was the most consistent player this year. He is an amazing scorer and a great teammate. He scores a lot. He gives good passes, he can get rebounds, and he can dribble. Best shooter, one of the best dribblers. Can't tell, he can kind of do it all. He was able to keep us in the game even when playing just 3 quarters. And the last thing I thought was, again, one of the really good thing to hear from a teammate, especially from a freshman. He won because he was one of the top scorers on the team. And he's a playmaker, but also he was a great leader and showed people what to do if they didn't know. That's a really high compliment, especially to get as a freshman, but also to give as a freshman. So a well-deserved runaway MVP vote for Mikey Masoni.
Yeah, Mikey!
So thank you all again. I'm going to shamelessly plug Unified Basketball because a bunch of my big partners here are graduating. So younger guys, make sure you sign up for Unified Basketball. And on that note, again, Coach Leo alluded to it. Our athletic numbers are trending in the wrong direction. I'm encouraging everybody to play multiple sports at all times. It's super good for you. If it's good enough for Patrick Mahomes, Tony Gonzalez, Randy Moss, Julius Peppers, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, and Deion Sanders, football guys, that's every position group, just throwing it out there. It's good enough for you. Like, be a part of the community, come out to our Unified Games in the fall. Victor's going to put on a show for us. It's only going to get better. Thank you guys, and on to Coach Joe.
I also have a few thank yous. Obviously, I echo Coach Liv and Coach Roy. The administration, Mr. Sumner, Kat, the athletic trainer, for taking care of all the student athletes and helping out with everything all year. Also to the parents and the booster group. Obviously everything that we're doing tonight and the things we got to do all year with the team dinners and all that was, it was a great experience and it's always a good time. So thank you. Especially with the parents, I kind of say it every year, but, with my group, the age groups, we have schedules that kind of go late in the night and, you guys are picking up, kind of all hours of the night. So thank you for all that, hard work. It doesn't go, unnoticed. Also thank you, Coach Roy. He's always good to have on the bench and, great at keeping track of stops for me because I cannot keep it on my own. Without you, we would never have any kills in Lance Pride. Thank you to all the players, freshmen, JV, and varsity, all levels. Their hard work all year. This program is what it is because of all your hard work. So, thank you. Also to the seniors, just for you, you guys had a really successful year, and it's always fun. Got a good senior group, especially with 5 starters most of the year, and you obviously made a lot of memories for you, but also for the coaching staff. It's always fun to have these upset tournament wins and a little bit of a Cinderella run. So I'm sure some of those memories will last lifetimes. Lastly, thanks to Coach Lib. Obviously his hard work really sets the tone for this program, and it shows this consistency and success we've had the last, I guess 20 out of the last 24 years. When I was playing, it wasn't quite as good, but it wasn't from hard work, but lack of it. So your hard work really has made this program what it is. As a season for us, looking at it from the outside in, just looking at our record, finishing 5-15, you might not think it was all that successful. But one thing I've learned in 14 years as a as a sub-varsity team, you're not always looking to win games. That's not your measure of successful season. It's really about the hard work you put in and the improvements you make, not only individually but as a group. And that standpoint, I think we definitely had a successful season. Starting the year, we started 0-3, and before the holiday break, we knew we had a kind of uphill battle, but we really put the work in and got 2 wins over the break. Just kept grinding and really working hard. These guys really, didn't let it get them down. The next 9 games was kind of a tough stretch. We went 1-8, but I could see, and I told multiple times throughout the season, during that stretch, even though we weren't getting really the results we wanted, in wins and losses, you could see that we were starting to improve and starting to get better. But 6 of those games being against TVL large teams that have 200-300 kids more in the school, and just a bigger pool to choose from. It was tough matchups, and but we were starting to do the little things a little better. We talked about that all year. Just keep doing the little things and keep doing things to get us in position to get wins, which we were starting to do that. And that showed when we started to go against the TVL small again. We started with a win over Bellingham, and then continued that with another win over Mills. But I think the standout was our second last game of the season against Medway, where the first time around, was one we wanted to forget. A 42-point loss at home in the in December. But we were able to turn that around, and we lost in Medway, but it was a 5-point loss with when we were leading in the fourth quarter. Really had a chance to win that game. Just because we didn't get as many wins as we might have liked, doesn't mean we didn't stop working, and I credit all of them with that. So thank you again. For my awards, the first one, so I usually don't name awards, but I think you probably consider this our most improved. Watching it last year as a freshman on the freshman team, you can kind of see that the potential he might have. It was kind of Coach Rowan called it a baby deer. You could tell he had athleticism, but kind of needed to work a little bit more. You could see coming into this year was his athleticism really showed. And then during the year, he just kept working and he just wanted to play as much as possible. I mean, you could see him with Coach Dillon and Coach Sam over here before practice and after practice, working on things. And not only that, he's like his attitude and his nature is just infectious. He has a smile on his face at all times, and it just is a real joy to coach. Just someone who loves to play and someone who loves to just keep working. My first award is for Nick Small.
Yeah, Nick.
I forgot to mention that these guys reminded me about doing that. He was always the hype man, getting on the bus on the away games, where he'd just be getting us all hyped for the ride home. The next award, goes to a player who really, you might not light up the stat sheet, but he started every game for us, and he does the little things, like rebounding, defending, that, especially from a guard position, that really helps. Kind of played that swing 3-man position and wing player all year, and did it well, defending, sometimes the best player on the other team, or playing the guard in zone, playing the big guy in zone, but rebounded everywhere he was. He was a little bit undersized for his rebounding, but did well. And just a really kid with a great attitude that I love to coach. We wish you could have everyone with some of these guys, which we had a lot of them. But he wasn't a great scorer, but really started to get the knack for his right hand dribble down on the right side and pull up jumper, which turned out pretty well. If he had 3 or 4 games, probably had our first buckets of the game. The next award is for Landon Willis.
Yeah, Landon.
Box out.
Box out.
The last award I have is, this guy came in as a freshman and was our second leading scorer, including 4 games having the team high. We really started the year just relying, just being more athletic than most people on the floor, outrunning them, getting ahead of people, and that's how we scored. But really developed this game, and starting to score more off the dribble. Just did a great job of it. Just really attacked the rim and was able to get the line. He led the team in free throw shooting, and next year that percentage is going to be definitely going up. I hope. The last award is for Andrew Bernstein. And one more thing, I left off on my thank you list, obviously, Sam and Dylan. So thank you for all your hard work all year. I don't know if I told Sam this, but she does so well, and really just made it like seamless. And I hardly didn't notice her at the end, which was good. She did a great job reporting me on the sideline. And but when we had other people come in, it wasn't quite the same vibe. And she's great to have. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit about our varsity team accomplishments and the legacy of the class of 2025. They're 15 wins. They're 15-8 overall record. We were one of only 2 teams of all 12 teams in the TBL to win 15 games this year. We were also one of only 2 teams in all 12 teams in the TBL to make the Sweet 16, along with Norton. Our TBL small record of 8-2 with only 2 losses to Midway. The 4-0 non-league record, including 2 wins in the Willow Tree Cup Series, the first time, and I told them all they cost me money now because I got to put the nameplate on. But it's the first time since 2019 that trophy stays here. It's split for the last 4 years in that series. And the seniors left, going 2-0 against Seacon this year. We're now up in that series 11-6, thanks to the work of these seniors as well, and all of the team. They joined 14 out of the last 17 varsity teams here to qualify for the state tournament. I put these other years up there because they now have something in common with the 2015 and 2020 teams that both made the sectional finals. In 2015, we beat a 20-2 team, Norwell, who plays for the state championship tomorrow night, when they were the number 2 seed. And I have a picture of that framed up in my office.
And I was there for that game too.
Of course you were, Peter. But also there was Pace and his mom and dad, and vividly above our bench is Pace as an 8-year-old sitting with his mom and dad as the clock ran off, and that upset when we beat the number 2 seed who had 20 wins. 2020, same thing at Norton High School. It was the sectional semifinals. We beat Rockland, who was the number 1 seed, 20-2.
Wow, I was there for that game too.
And then obviously these guys added to that in 2025. We went to Shaoxing Tech and beat the number 4 seed, who was 20-2. So they joined that legacy of upsets. The part that I don't appreciate as much is each of those 4 long tournament runs there, we lost to the eventual state champion. I joke with Coach Jolly, we just want 1 fire truck ride back into town, just 1. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. If Old Rochester can be the 4th state champion we lost to in the state tournament. 2025 also joins all of those senior classes there that had at least 13 wins in their season. So, we set that as a goal. Once we got in the state tournament, and we're, I think at that time, 10-6 or something like that, we really made it a goal to go get teen wins. Like, anytime you get teen wins out of 20 games in a high school season, you have had a really successful season. So they joined all those other years there with teen wins. One thing this group did that none of those groups did is get 2 upset road wins in the state tournament. That 2015, 2020, none of those other groups did that. 2015, 2020, those were all on neutral sites. Bridgewater Raynham in 2015, 2020 Taunton High School. So for these guys to go do it on the road twice in a row in a week says a lot about them and the accomplishments they had this year. Going into the year, you love that question at Mass Premier when you're head coach. So, coach, how are you going to be this year? You love that in mid-July. You get that quite a bit from referees and other coaches. And of course, you really give the coach speak and say, you never know. Because you really don't. You wonder sometimes if they want you to give a number. Oh, we're going to be 12-8. We're just going to fast forward to the state tournament. But it's a question we get a lot. But what we did know going into the senior season is that we had 5 returning seniors who gained a lot of valuable experience last year and played a lot of minutes as juniors. And they set a goal for themselves to get back to the state tournament after it came down to the last game last year and literally missing the state tournament by 2 points. But the TBL Small also had a number of teams that were returning really good plays. Medfield, Millis, Medway were all returning key players off their teams last year. And the TBL Large was going to be tough again with teams like Westwood, Norwood, Dedham, and Hopkinton that all had significant more size than we did as well. But we felt prepared with our summer league play, playing a lot of Hockomock teams. We ended up playing in summer league for some bizarre reason. Oliver Ames 3 times. Well, Oliver Ames had a great turning run that just finished the other night when they lost to Malden Catholic in the Final Four. So we were battle tested from the amount of competition that we played in the summer, but the preparation they did in open gym in the fall and in the summer. But we also knew we weren't the tallest team out there. I think RJ might be 6'1". I want to measure RJ someday. I mean, there were times that we looked like the 6 foot and under team out there. When you play the TBL Large, size does matter. In terms of our season recap, we started out the season basically break it into 5 parts. Part 1, the 6-0 start, winning so many close games that could have gone either way. Millis, DS, Medfield, Seacon were literally 5 points or less wins. A lot of them 2 points or less wins. And then that certainly felt pretty good to start the season like that. But then we ran into some adversity with a 1-5 record playing against the larger, bigger in terms of size, TBL Large teams. And this is where, and I tried to communicate this with them, and I don't think I did a great job of it, that they really grew from last year. Okay, last year we faced adversity, we kind of struggled through it. This year we accepted it, confronted it, and then just learned from the growth of last year. Part 3, the rebound, finishing the regular season, winning 5 of our last 6 games, heading into the state tournament. And then knowing we weren't going to play a home game because, for whatever reason, 13 wins doesn't give you a home game necessarily in the state tournament anymore. And then the preparation for the state tournament games. Good preparation for Worcester Tech, a really athletic team. And this again is where they showed their growth. Being down in the 3rd quarter on the road in that game by 10 points. I think our team last year would have struggled with that. Our team this year put our head down and 1 possession at a time got back in the game. To the point that when Giovanni hit the layup to give us the 1-point lead was the first time in that entire game that we led. Okay, and then obviously the big block by Jack Devine and the walk-off steal by Pace Rivero into the throng of fans. And I think we might have been on the court a little early there too. But we'll work on that next year. And then of course the win at Shawsheen. Those 2 days, the next 2 days of practice, telling them that Shawsheen had 2 1,000-point scorers. You don't face that a lot in high school basketball. 2 seniors who had a 20-winning team, won all sorts of championships, the Voc Tech championship, state Voc Tech championship, then league championship, MVP of their league, 2 1,000-point scorers. So we knew in those 2 practices we had our work cut out for us. But then again, as Mr. Rodriguez's video clip showed you, down 37-27 in the 3rd quarter. This is where that growth from last year showed again. They put their head down, they played 1 possession at a time, and they worked themselves back to the point where Sean made a great shot on a play we run and execute a lot. And we executed perfection there with 10 seconds to be able to win that upset game. And then part 5, the ending. Tough game against Old Rochester. Nobody wants to start 18-2. but they did show that growth once again. I had a couple ex-college coaches call me after that game and commended them for the second quarter. Like how many teams down 20-10 or 20-2, that atmosphere would have just gone away into the night. But somehow at halftime that score was 31-26. Because again, they just worked and put their head down and grew and just refused to accept any failure. It didn't finish the way we liked because Old Rochester certainly proved to be a great team in the second half, and now they're 24 hours away from playing first state championship. So a little season recap for you. Our seniors, big thanks to all 5 of them. They, as I said, looking at that poster I have in my office with me sitting up there as an 8-year-old, I think they all came to camp probably since they were in 4th grade. You saw their Metro West pictures, so they all put a lot into this. I mean, you just don't win 15 games. The 15 games they won, by the way, is the most of any team at Norton High this year. Mr. Roy's baseball team's going to take that up in a couple months. But it tells you a lot about their growth and their development, and their hard work, and everything they put in this season. So thank you to all 5 of them. And also the underclassmen. I don't think, obviously we want to honor our seniors tonight, but we don't want to forget about the work that our juniors and sophomores do every day, pushing the seniors and everybody else on our team to be better. Like, it's a team effort. We're all there Sunday morning at 10:30 watching film, whether you're on the scout team or you're starting, and we don't have the accomplishments we do this year without the underclassmen and the juniors and the sophomores that were part of our varsity team as well. Our team awards. First one, Coach's Award. And I call this the Unsung Hero Award. This guy, I was trying to think about this the other night when I was putting these remarks together. I don't think he ever missed a practice, a game, a film session, anything. He's really an Iron Man for us. He was the tallest player on our team that was in our regular rotation. And again, when you say tallest, he's 6 foot, he's 6'1". And he had to guard the other team's tallest players, which on a lot of nights, they're 6'3", 6'4", or Norwood, 6'9". But didn't stop him from battling all year or playing undersized in most of his individual matchups. It really wasn't fair to him, but he knew he had to accept that role, and he did as best he could with that role all year long. He had big rebounds for us. You think of some of our buzzer beater wins, they start with his 2-handed rebounds. We had a great win at Medway last year, so did the buzzer, or at home versus Medway. It started with a 2-handed rebound by him. Giovanni's shot doesn't happen at Worcester Tech. Shawsheen doesn't happen unless he gets a 2-handed rebound and we get the ball to a scorer. He started that play, and then all the other things that filtered down from him getting the rebound. So we can't say enough about just his hard work, the way he carries himself, and taking on a challenge all year that really wasn't necessarily fair to him. So our Unsung Hero Award, Coach's Award, goes to RJ Cass.
RJ!
Our next award, our Lancer Pride Award winner. I think he won this award 10 times, but I'm going to be honest, and I think once I knew he was going to kind of clinch it, it might have been 9, but it was right around 10. Although he had a late push from Quinn Murphy and Sean Cleary, who closed the gap a little bit. He had such a big start with this that he ends up being a repeat winner with this. Back-to-back Lancer Pride Award winners. Some past winners are some of the greats who played here in multiple sports over the last 25 years. Names like Dudley, Nevado, Doucette, Annie, Oren, Belcher, Scoville. It's a hustle award, and it's a chart that we do, and really, Rick Pitino, who is on everybody's mind lately, started this way back when he coached Providence in the late 80s. Charting deflections, causing turnovers, steals, giving points out for that, and literally posting it as the game goes, and you see it, their hustle chart. He had multiple double-double, rebound and points game, and he averaged close to 7 rebounds a game. But he just did all of those little things, getting steals, rebounds, causing turnovers, taking charges. It's when he was sort of bruised and battered a little bit towards the end of the season. But our Lancer Pride Award goes again this year to Ethan Rodriguez.
Yeah, Ethan.
Next award is our JFK Award. This goes to every team in the building. It's a JFK Award. And it's supposed to be based on sportsmanship, character, representing your school well in a lot of different ways. I think this person was a great representative and ambassador for Norton basketball. He really became a great zone defender for us and a versatile defender. He fashioned himself as a small forward as the year went on, which his versatility with that really helped us. Some of the other coaches, and if he doesn't know this, commented on his sportsmanship. And although he plays hard and he's gritty, if another player was around him that falls to the floor, he's the first kid to extend a hand to the other team's player to help him up off the floor. And you can see that in film throughout the entire year. The other coaches noticed it. He battled through injuries multiple times this year, being able to participate, and we depended on his grit and toughness in tough games. His most memorable shot at Medfield. People would call that a lucky shot, but I made sure to tell him, I don't know if it was the day, practice after, or whatever, how many kids would not have even got a shot off in that moment. He knew enough that there was 2 seconds on the shot clock. I got a ball fake, create space, and let it fly. And, not having a conscience like he does quite a bit, was perfect in that situation. But there's a lot of other players that the ball just would have stuck with them. They don't get the shot off. Maybe we don't win that game. Maybe we don't qualify for the tournament that night. And anytime you're able to sweep a program like Medfield twice a year is a significant accomplishment. So that's a real memorable shot to me throughout the year.
Yep, it reminded me of Griff Meckler back in 2018 when you won the TVL title.
I had to be on top of my game to go around,
Yep.
Yeah. So, just for him to clinch it that way, and we had a nice little celebration in Medfield's locker room after having achieved that goal. We missed it by the 2 points last year. The JFK Award this year goes to Paige McGraw.
Yep.
Most improved player. This was an easy choice, the easiest one I had. Because of how well he improved handling the basketball and taking care of it, making good decisions and limiting turnovers. He got us we run too many offenses. That's a fair criticism of us, I think. But he knows them all, as well as the coaches. And he got us into the right offense at the right times to help us be successful. And he was just a consummate point guard, while always being unselfish as well. He had multiple games where he had close to 10 assists. Within those games, only 1 to 2 turnovers. I think we were probably a more enjoyable basketball team to watch this year. Last year we struggled with turnovers a little bit. This year we'd go look at our stats when the game was over, and we'd have 8, we'd have 9. And in high school basketball, anytime you can stay under 10 turnovers, you give yourself a real good chance to win. And he was a big reason for that, because the ball's in his hand so much as he's directing the offense. He ended with a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. In high school basketball, that's a great stat to have as well, with over 100 assists this season. He's a smart player who understands scouting reports. I think he watches just as much film as some of the coaching staff. And in-game adjustments. And we had a nice little, it was kind of like I'd call a play, he'd call me off, then I'd call him off. And it got to the point where we both figured out which was the best play. And that took, 2 years for us to get to that level. But I'll miss that next year. He should coach in the future. I know Coach Roy is always looking for help. So when he's home on winter break next year, when he leaves maybe the warm climate of the South and comes back, I'm sure Coach Roy could use his help. He's an adept three-point shooter. He led our team in percentage in three-point shooting, 37%. And that was no witness the most when we beat Shawshing. And he had a quiet but really important 15 points and a bunch of key three-pointers when we were down that 10-point deficit in the third quarter. Our most improved player this year is Quinn Murphy. MVP award. This is where, I cost Mr. some more money. This person had 14 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, shot 52% from the foul line. You might be like, why is he including that stat? Because it was a significant improvement over last year, and he seemed to make a bunch of key, important free throws. The Shawshing game, when we needed at least one to go in, and he got one, with 3 seconds left or whatever it was. He finished this year with 323 points. He often guarded the other team's best forward scorer. Another player who battled through cuts, bumps, bruises, illness towards the end of the season. It seemed like there was always a cut on him or a bruise on him, or towards the end of the season, something get stuck up his nose. And I was just like, you're good, you can go. I can go. The 39-point effort he had at Blue Hills was just amazing because we needed them all, and he didn't take a bad shot at all that night. It was just an incredible performance. 2 years ago, we had Marquise Pina have 40 in a game that we sort of got a lot of separation in the second half. And my coach will know this better than me. 2006, maybe Dan Nagel had 40 in another game that was a blowout win for us. But 39 in a 2-point win where we needed each and every one of those baskets. And I had no idea. I mean, literally, Peter at the end of the game, when he said, good win, Coach Liv, and Ethan had 39, and I was blown away because there was such an unselfish night of scoring the basketball just because we needed it, and it was to help his team win. When he had double-digit rebounds for us, it usually meant we had a great chance of winning. The night at C-Comp when he was sick, not feeling well, double-double, huge double-double, just controlled the boards that night to bring that Willow Tree Cup home. He's the TBL All-Star in basketball for the first time. I'm hopeful when Sun Chronicle gets around to doing their All-Star team, he's got a real good chance to make that team too. And I think the ultimate compliment I can give him is he reminds me of the players who played here 10 or 15 years ago. The last names that I mentioned before, the Doucettes, the Hannons, the Pilates, the tough kids who just get every ounce of their ability, that are gamers and compete every possession of every athletic event they play. And he's a throwback to those kids, and we're certainly going to miss him next year. Our co-MVP is Ethan Rodriguez.
Ethan!
And our last award, our other co-MVP, this person averaged 14.5 points a game, 7.5 rebounds. That's where he really improved his game a lot this year. 74% from the line. Didn't beat our team. Giovanni actually was 77% from the line, but second on the team in free throw shooting. He finished with 333 points. This is kind of a sneaky fact that not many people would know. Almost 800 points in his varsity career. Since his sophomore year when he started playing varsity, 792 points to be exact. He also averaged 30 minutes a game, which means his coach wasn't comfortable taking him out because he was such a glue guy for us, so important in terms of his leadership and what he did for us, but it also reflects his stamina and conditioning. As I said, he really improved his rebounding this year. In multiple games with over 10 rebounds a game, which helped us to overcome that challenge of not having that much size. He's an absolute pleasure to coach. He takes every rep as an opportunity to improve. He's way ahead of most of his peers in that regard. He's the hardest worker in practice, always. There's a lot of people, underclassmen, sub-varsity players, that want to be a 2-time TBL All-Star, a 2-time team MVP, a 2-time Sun Chronicle All-Star. And if you want that pathway for yourself, just watch and learn how hard Sean practiced every day. How he took every rep as an opportunity to get better. The entire 2 hours of practice was an opportunity for him to get better. And we'll miss that. As I said, 2-time TBL All-Star. I hope the Sun Chronicle All-Star in the future. 2-time team MVP. And he never fails from lack of effort or preparation. He's going to be a real good employee for somebody someday.
Yeah.
He's just going to work and prepare and always give everything he has. He's someone that our younger players should seek to emulate in his work habits and his preparation. Our co-MVP, Sean Taylor.
Yes, Sean!
So that concludes our team awards and our school awards as well. We had a post-breakup meeting. It wasn't until Tuesday of this week. So they just passed in their uniform. So they did nominate some people for captains for next year. So our job now as coaches is to kind of go through that. We'll be reaching out to those players as we get going here with our off season. It's kind of a late postseason meeting for us because of our run in the tournament. So we'll be announcing that shortly and meeting with those players. And then getting all ready again for summer league and off season, and also open gyms and all the things we do in the off season. Can't thank the coaches, the players, and the parents enough for all your support all year long. Thank you.
All right, seniors, good luck. The upcoming underclassmen, enjoy the off season, get your rest, play your other sports.
Thank you, Dave.
We're very excited to see what Lancers are going to do next year and whatnot. So good luck to you all. This concludes our banquet. We have our grab bags, our gift bags for every single player that's here. So please feel free to grab some. We have a whole bunch of cake and dessert and stuff wrapped up in the back. Take that home with you. We appreciate you guys. What a phenomenal season. Thank you so much and have a good night.
And that brings us to the close of the 2025 Norton High School Boys Basketball